What is going on, everyone? I am Beggles, and I'm actually going to do my first ever test/review video, and I'm going to be checking out Sky Ocean Wings for Hire. Now, I actually played this game through G.Round, which is an online platform in which you can test games out, earn some points. I'm going to put my referral code in the description below, so if you want to try out some new games, it's actually a platform that I kind of like and believe in, so I fully recommend it. With Sky Ocean's Wings for Hire, I will be giving some comments about this build in terms of the gameplay, storyline, what I like, what I dislike, things like that. Keeping in mind that it is a test build, so by no means a finished product. Let me know what you think of the video, leave a comment, share it with someone who might like it. Let's check out Sky Ocean's Wings for Hire. Sky Ocean's Wings for Hire is in essence an RPG game that has a bit of exploration and a whole lot of dialogue for you to read through. You follow the exploits of a group of pirates who are on the side of the good, and in classic RPG form they have a ragtag bunch of misfits who would probably not be really adventuring too much together if it wasn't for the powerful enemies that are oppressing the world around them. At the beginning of the game you will be taking on a contract to earn some much needed money for resources, and there are some mysterious circumstances around the location of the contract. There's a fair amount of familiarity with the personalities of the characters and their intentions, as well as the setting based around floating cloud islands, but the idea is engaging enough and I'm more than happy to find out more about this storyline. Sky Oceans is kind of throwing us around into a number of different genres which take a little bit of time to get used to. The game is listed as a visual novel, so there's definitely a lot of reading, and indeed it took me longer than I would have hoped to get into any meaningful gameplay. Choose your contract and it's time for an overworld style map, which really is a bit limited at the moment, but as a fan of classic RPGs of the past, I'm definitely not complaining about this element, although I would hope for a bit more polish as the game moves along development. The next stage is the contract or level in which you control 4 different characters, all flying a different ship, and work your way through some objectives to try and complete the contract and get that bounty. Now, the follow system is pretty clever, but took me a while to get the handle of, which did result in one character just hitting electricity pulses until they died off screen. However, after spectacularly failing, I did get a really good handle, and I think a quick tutorial step here would be really good. The last part of the gameplay in Sky Oceans is the battle system. Classic turn-based battles in which each character gets a special ability they can use, and whilst it is kind of how you would expect a turn-based system to work, I enjoyed it and got the feel for it pretty quickly. There is a lot of missed shots happening, I guess due to the invasion move, and starting out it can feel a bit unusual to watch your character just whiffing every attack on the enemies. There are some really cute elements of design in the game, especially considering the art and music quality, and then there's some others that leave a bit to be desired. The comic style art for character interaction is really on point, and whilst the level design is good in terms of how it fits together, there's definitely the opportunity to improve on this area and make it all flow well. Small things like bumping into world objects that aren't really clear to see would be something I'd be working on. I do like the music in the game, although on odd occasions there were some strange audio when a soundtrack looped, and some of the sound effects are pretty crass at the moment, like the electricity and just the general ship flying sound got pretty irritating quickly. Not deal breakers by any means, but after hearing the quality of the game loading music, you can't help but get excited for some improvements with sound design. Sky Oceans is a lot of fun once you have everything figured out. The characters are quite likable, and I like the way the different special abilities have interactions that play differently, like repairing outside of battle, and the boss level is challenging enough to make you really need to think your way through. In the turn-based fighting system, there's some really cool comic panel animations for when your characters are performing their turn, and I'm a big fan of this style of design. There's definitely some room for improvement with some of the smaller interactions in Sky Oceans. Things like having to wait 6 seconds before you get into your turn-based fights, and the pause screen is a bit awkward at the moment. I tried to use a controller but had no success, and then things like trying to speed up dialogue just resulted in me doing needless speed up abilities instead of actually moving the talking forward. I gotta say I'm pretty impressed as a first test of Sky Ocean's Wings for Hire. I can see the potential of the game and see areas that probably have had more work done on them compared to others. Would I play some more? Yes, I would. That's a good starting point. Let me know what you think.